In August of 2020, Kyle Rittenhouse went to Kenosha, Wisconsin, where his father lived. And that night, because he was asked to, he helped protect local businesses from the mob of people looting, destroying, and burning. As he was doing that, a mentally ill child molester called Joseph Rosenbaum tried to kill Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse defended himself and shot Rosenbaum. And then several men began chasing Rittenhouse down the street. One of them was called Gage Grosskreutz. When Rittenhouse went to the ground, Grosskreutz pointed a gun at him. In response, Rittenhouse shot him in the arm. That was obviously self-defense. It was on camera, and Grosskreutz admitted that at trial. Watch.
Does this look like right now your arm is being shot?
That looks like my bicep being vaporized, yes.
Okay. And it's being vaporized as you're pointing your gun directly at him? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so when you were standing 3 to 5 feet from him with your arms up in the air, he never fired, right?
Correct.
It wasn't until you pointed your gun at him, advanced on him, with your gun, now your hands down, pointed at him, that he fired, right?
Correct.
So, yes, I pointed a loaded gun in his face because I wanted to kill him, and he shot me in the arm, disabling me and prevented me from killing him. Well, yeah, that's the appropriate use of force in the cause of self-defense. But because self-defense is no longer allowed in the United States, the man who tried to kill Kyle Rittenhouse is now suing Kyle Rittenhouse for preventing him from killing Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse joins us now. Kyle, thanks so much for coming on. It's almost unbelievable that a man who tried to kill you and was prevented from killing you by your act of self-defense is now suing you because he wasn't able to kill you. How does that work?
Thank you for having me, Tucker. And honestly, I have no idea. It's ridiculous. This lawsuit is very frustrating and it's upsetting. This is honestly, to me, an attack on our Second Amendment rights and our rights to self-defense. And it's saying if you use your God-given right to self-defense, they're going to come after you. If you win in court, you're acquitted, rightfully so. They're going to take you to civil court and they're going to take you for everything you're worth. They're going to drive you into bankruptcy and drown you in a mountain of legal bills.
So that's what's actually happening. We're watching this happen all over the country. Civil suits used to shut down free speech, to end the Second Amendment, to void the Bill of Rights, and to destroy people who stand up against the mob, like you. Who's funding this suit? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea who's funding this lawsuit. All I know is that there's a powerhouse of attorneys behind Gage Grosskreutz, and I have Mark Richards, and I know we're going to win to court, but it's going to be expensive. It's going to cost a lot of money to fight these attorneys. They're very powerful. You can go to www.givesandgo.com/Kyle Rittenhouse to help me take on these lawyers so they don't come after more people. Because if they can come after me, they will come after you.
Well, of course, and they are coming after people all over the country. It's an undercovered story, the use of the civil courts to void the Bill of Rights and destroy anyone who stands in the way of their total takeover of the country. How old are you, by the way, at this point?
I'm 20 years old. I was
Okay,
17 when Gage Grosskreutz pointed the pistol at my head.
Yeah, a loaded pistol, and tried to kill you, and you did absolutely the right thing, and you disabled him before he could murder you. And I assume at 20, you probably just kind of want to go live the rest of your one hopes long life, right?
Absolutely. But, they're trying to, they don't want me to, they want me to go away, but they want to drown me in these legal bills, and they want to sue me and pretty much not allow me to live a normal 20-year-old life.
Yeah. Well, you did the right thing. If someone puts a loaded gun in your face and tries to kill you, you have not just a right, but an obligation to respond, and you did. So Kyle Rittenhouse, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and Godspeed in this, and what's happening to you. Of all the things to pay attention to, the food supply's got to be pretty close to the top of the list, and that's why we covered it when large numbers of chickens began dying around the country. Now cows are dying. The culprit appears to be an outbreak of a tick-borne disease called filaria. That outbreak is believed to have begun in New Jersey in 2017, then spread to Northern Virginia, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and beyond. Christopher Haskins is a commercial beef farmer in beautiful Chatham, Virginia, the far southern part of the state. He says he's lost 41 cows since August. That's cost him 60 grand and delayed his calving schedule significantly. Christopher Haskins joins us tonight. Mr. Haskins, thank you so much for coming on. Tell us what this is and how it's affected your herd.
Yes, sir, and thank you, Tucker, and thank you for caring about something that's affecting the agriculture industry. So about in August, we generally start calving in September of every year. In August, though, we start keeping a check on our cattle herd just to make sure everything is going as planned. On August the 4th, I found a cow that had passed away. Didn't think much of it at the time. You're going to lose a cow every now and then in this business. That following week, though, I found another cow that had passed, and I told my father, I said, that something's going on here. I'm not quite sure what it is. They weren't due to calf at that time. Well, then by the third week of August, we were losing multiple cows a day. And fortunately, my wife's a veterinarian, and I've got some good relationships with other veterinarians in my area. So we got some cattle up. I had some cows having calving problems, and I normally never have that. Maybe I pull one calf a year from a cow assisted birth. I had 4 in 2 days, and so on a Monday, that third week of August, I noticed a cow that wasn't acting right, staying down to the creek by herself in the shade when others were out grazing. So I tried to feed this cow, and she tried to attack me. And so then I knew something was up, so I contacted one of the local large animal vets and told him that I knew I had a problem in my herd, and I was pretty sure this animal would die within the next few hours, and if he could come draw a blood sample, I sure would appreciate it, because at the moment she we weren't going to be able to draw blood from her being in the shape she was in. And so the cow died within a couple of hours. The vet came out, drew the blood. The blood looked like Kool-Aid. It was very watery, where the cow was so anemic. And he sent that off to our local lab. And unfortunately, I kept losing cattle throughout the week before I got the results back. And that Wednesday morning, I about mentally and physically really had it, to be honest with you. So I contacted VDAX here in Virginia, looking for somewhere that maybe could do a necropsy for me, because I knew I was going to lose an animal that day. I just didn't know when. And that evening I lost 2 more animals, and I loaded one of the animals up and took it for a necropsy in Whitfield, Virginia, at a lab. And that next day I was told by the veterinarian that did the necropsy that more than likely it was this disease Filaria, and the spleen of the animal was 2 times the normal size, and it was very jaundiced or yellow inside. And so that's when that's when we knew what was going on. But then my animals continued to die. I lost my last one on October the 12th.
Unbelievable. Christopher Haskins, thank you so much from Chatham, Virginia. I'd like to keep track of that stuff, and I hope it doesn't spread much farther than it already has. And I hope you come back with an update if it does. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
So people are living all over the streets of major American cities. You're supposed to ignore it. Drug addicts mostly. A lot of them are mentally ill, both as a result of drugs, or they were driven to drugs by mental illness. But the problem is it's wrecking our cities. In St. Louis, a man called Deshaun Thomas just executed a homeless man on the side of the road. Police believe Deshaun Thomas is also homeless. Watch.
I didn't hear it. Maybe they shot at the same spot. So no blood.
Yeah, there he goes.
No, he just put a magazine in and he's still trying to load it.
President Biden hit a new low during a speech. He thought it was appropriate, apparently, to laugh while describing a mother who lost two precious children to a fentanyl overdose. Watch this.
She was very specific recently, saying that a mom, a poor mother who lost two kids to fentanyl, that I killed her sons. Well, the interesting thing is that fentanyl they took came during the last administration. Look, folks. Anyway, I don't want to get started.
The border is open because of him. Lost both of her sons, if you can imagine that, to fentanyl. Her 18-year-old son, Kyler, and her 20-year-old son, Caleb, both were poisoned in 2020 when they took what they thought were Percocet pills, but they weren't, for fentanyl. Yesterday, Rebecca Kiesling testified in the House of Representatives. She pointed out that our government isn't doing anything to protect America's young people from this.
If we had Chinese troops lining up along our southern border with weapons aimed at our people, with weapons of mass destruction aimed at our cities, you damn well know you would do something about it. We had a weather balloon from China going across our country. Nobody died, and everybody's freaking out about it. But 100,000 die every year, and nothing's being done. Not enough is being done. Numbers are going up, not down. You're welcoming drug dealers across our border. You're giving them protection. You're not protecting our children.
Rebecca Kiesling joins us tonight. Ms. Kiesling, thank you so much for coming on. You certainly made the point to the Congress. Do you think they've heard you?
More than half of them did. But I was really appalled at some of the rhetoric that I heard, honestly, from the Democrats, saying that they've heard a lot of fear mongering. Like, are you kidding me? Like, 110,000 died in 2021. Like, we have a reason to be afraid. China is going after our children. We've got rainbow fentanyl now in candy boxes coming into this country. And now they're mixing fentanyl with a horse tranquilizer so that Narcan won't work, so it can't be detected by fentanyl strips. Like, they're trying to kill off our population. And you're going to accuse me and the others testifying that we're fear-mongering?
So you lost both your sons to poisoning by a foreign government, and you're a fear-monger? What was your reaction? It's hard even to believe that happened. What was your reaction to that? It's so disgusting.
Well, I was really upset by the guy from the Cato Institute who testified that the problem is demand. And that's like some of the rhetoric that I've heard on social media since I testified. People saying, oh, they wanted it. Like they were doing something illegal, so they deserve to die. And people didn't used to die from experimenting with drugs. And of course I taught my children not to do drugs. They heard it more than anybody else because their birth mother was a drug addict. But they still experimented anyway. And unfortunately, over 100,000 are, and they're dying. They still deserve to be protected. It's a health issue. They deserved real help, but they deserve to be protected from an attack by, as you said, a foreign nation.
Well, I mean, they didn't take fentanyl. They took what they thought was Percocet, and like so many young people. They were poisoned to death by something that was mislabeled. I mean, no different from the Tylenol murders that took place 40 years ago, where people put cyanide in Tylenol. They thought they were taking Tylenol, they got cyanide. I mean, but the libertarian response was, it's their fault. They deserve it.
Right. That's what I'm seeing on social media. There's some people that are extremely callous. I mean, how cold-hearted can you be? To speak to me like that, to say such horrible things that they deserve to die and that I was a horrible mother and somebody should have called CPS. I mean, they know nothing about what happened and how much I tried and how I sought help for them through the school, through the police. I mean, they have no idea what I went through to fight for them.
Yeah, well, we've interviewed a lot, I know personally, a number of parents in your position, and to blame you for it or your children who died from poisoning is really, well, you'd really have to be the Cato Institute to do that. So I'm sorry you had to hear it. Rebecca Kiesling, thank you very much.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you.